So what we have here is a basic quadcopter, quad meaning that we have 4 propellers here for us to spin. There are other layouts, but 4 tends to be the most popular by a pretty fair margin. What we have here on the bottom, this piece of carbon fiber here, this is one piece of carbon fiber that's been laser cut. This is 6 millimeters thick. It's basically indestructible. If you break this, they actually have a lifetime warranty, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. On top of that, we have, well, and under that, we have mounted a 4-cell 1000 milliamp battery that's capable of delivering right about 60 amps of power at about, or 60 amps of current at about 16 volts. This is a lithium polymer battery, similar to the one that's in your laptop, but with a much higher power output. We have here, these are your motors. These, these are what we would call 2204, 2300 kV motors, meaning that these are 22 millimeters across in terms of physical size, and the magnets are 4 millimeters tall. These motors spin at about 2,300 RPM per volt applied. So if you estimate that we're doing 15 volts, we're doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 plus RPM when these things are spinning at full load. With these propellers on them, these are 3-bladed propellers. With these propellers on them, these motors will produce about a kilogram of thrust per corner. Of course, we have 4 corners, so we're producing about right around 4 kilograms of thrust. Now, for an aircraft, this aircraft weighs 499.5 grams. I measured it last night. So we're right at about an 8-to-1 power to weight ratio, which is really pretty good. Under this canopy here, and this canopy is here to protect the electronics. You can actually see into it a little bit here. We've got a couple things. First, we have a 4-node electronic speed controller. So this is each one of these motors needs a speed controller to tell them how fast to spin and to deliver that power. Excuse me. They come in these sort of, you can get them in individuals, where you generally mount them on the arms here. But for a very small, compact, lightweight build like this, I like to use the ones that are all in one board. They tend to be a little bit easier to install. So think of it like a 4-node 2U rack mount server system. On top of that, and you can see just the top of the silver part here, we have a combination of flight controller, which keeps the thing level, as well as a video transmitter so that we can see the video, which gets transmitted through this antenna right here. Now what's interesting is that these things, there is no elegance into how a quadcopter flies. It just flies by brute force, and we need something to keep it balanced and maintain attitude and maintain the right amount of power, and therefore we need a computer to control these things. This one is based on open source software called Betaflight. The CPU is running at 72 megahertz and has about half a megabyte of memory to run all that. And then the last major component we have here is this camera. This is our camera for what will be transmitted back to your eye. So it is a relatively low resolution, but very, very low latency camera. So we're looking at about basically standard definition resolution, but with sub 2 millisecond latency back to your eyes. This camera uses a charge coupled device, so it responds very well to changes in color and changes in brightness. So it's very cool. In this section right here, you see the antenna for the radio controller right there. We'll tuck that back in. And this square box is where your GoPro session will go. I don't have it in there yet because I don't have it mounted quite the way that I want to yet. But it does work very, very well, and it makes it really easy to record your flights. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to stop the video, I'm going to turn everything on, and I'm going to show you the very first hover of this aircraft.